Hello everyone, welcome back. This August I tried something new, a little experiment. I decided to film all my outfits for an entire month. And if you've been here for a while, you'll know I often make 7 day 7 looks videos and I really enjoy making them, but there's always something a little funny about them. I'm very aware that I'm filming that week. And I don't necessarily plan outfits in advance, but unconsciously I put in more effort. And when I look back, I notice it. I layered a little bit more, I experimented a little more. I made sure the week as a whole looked somewhat inspiring. And it's not bad, I do wear those looks and I hope to create things that can be inspirational, but it's not quite the same as my everyday reality when I don't put my outfits online. So this time I wanted to see what would happen if I stripped that away. No inspiration, pressure, just me, what I reach for in the morning, what I repeat without noticing, and what I avoid. And I wanted to do this experiment not just for you guys to see, but also for myself. I still hope my everyday outfits can be a source of inspiration, but at the same time, I want this video to be more than just a lookbook. I want it to be a way or a gateway for everyone who wants to reflect on their own personal style and your own everyday outfits and to see if they align. Because I think most of us live in that tension between how we want to dress and how we actually dress. We have an image in our head of our ideal style, your Pinterest board, your saved Instagram posts, the version of ourselves we picture walking through life. But then there's the practical version, what we throw on when we're late, what feels comfortable, what fits into the rhythm of our daily routines. And I think for most of us, there is a gap between those two selves. And this experiment was partly about seeing that gap more clearly for myself, but also to open up the conversation. Maybe as you watch, you can think about your own wardrobe and ask, am I really dressing in a way that feels like me, or am I dressing for convenience, or habit, or expectation? And that's why I won't just be showing you outfits. I want to share the bigger lessons I learned along the way, what surprised me, what challenged my assumptions, and what gave me a new perspective on style. And by filming my outfits every day for a month, I didn't give myself the chance to overthink or fix things. I wanted a clearer, more realistic picture of how I use my clothes, how I rotate my closet, and how much of it I actually wear. So I am not going to describe every outfit, but at the end of the video I want to summarize some patterns, and I also wanted to pick the outfits I liked the most and the outfits I liked the least. And there were two reasons why I wanted to do this. On the surface, it was pretty practical. I wanted to know what I really wore. I've always thought of myself as someone who rotates clothes well, who uses her closet fully, who balances basics and statements. But is that actually true? I also wanted to shop smarter. If I'm investing time and money into clothes, I want to know what's actually worth it. What do I repeat so often that it justifies the price? And what do I think I use, but in reality is collecting dust? But beneath that, there was also a deeper motivation. I wanted to check in with myself. Clothes are my creative outlet. I do see it as a hobby. I play with style the way others might play with photography. And since I do put some time and money into it, I did want to see if I'm actually happy with my outfits day to day. Because I knew I had some assumptions about my style and what I wore that might not be entirely true. Since I also make videos with outfits I don't wear out, I thought I might think of myself as more experimental than I actually am. I also thought I rotated my bags almost on a daily basis, and I thought I had the perfect 50-50 balance between new and second-hand pieces. But the footage didn't lie. I wore the same bag for days in a row. Some days the day or the outfit asked for a specific bag, but most of the time I have a current favorite everyday bag. And this month it was my studded leather bag from Cucinelli you saw earlier. I also didn't really repeat the exact same outfits, but I definitely repeated certain outfit concepts over and over. My uniform, if you can call it that, turned out to be navy bottoms and most of all a white top. Not exactly groundbreaking, and I don't really feel that my style has to be groundbreaking, but I do like the looks where I experimented a bit more the most. And since it was summer and I didn't have to go to work for the biggest part of the month, my outfits would be a bit more experimental, or at least that is what I thought. So once I accepted that what I thought my style looked like on an everyday basis wasn't exactly what it actually looked like, it opened the door for some other questions. Why is there a gap between how I imagine myself and what I actually look like? Why do I tell myself certain stories about my style, and why do I want to dress in a certain way? And what does my fantasy self say about who I am or who I want to become? For example, I've always said I liked a relaxed style, effortless, maybe even a little messy. I didn't mind unironed clothes, slightly slouchy fits. I thought that made me look unbothered, easygoing, even a little rebellious against perfection. But when I watched some of my outfits back, the wrinkled shirts, the ill fitting pants, I started to wonder if I actually enjoy the feeling of looking relaxed, but maybe not the look itself. What I thought came across as effortless sometimes just looked a little careless. And that made me pause and ask myself, is that really the energy I want to give off? And maybe at one point it was. Maybe there was a time when I liked the identity of being someone who didn't care about details like that. But I think I've changed over the past few years and my habits just haven't quite caught up. At the same time, I also wondered if wanting to fix my careless look is less about my own style and more about being a bit more aware of how people perceive me now than I used to be. And that's when I realized that clothes aren't just clothes. They are little markers of identity. They reflect not just who we are, but who we used to be or who we wish we were. And I think psychologists would call this the difference between the actual self, the ideal self, and the odd self. The actual self is who you really are, the ideal self is who you want to be, and the odd self is who you feel you should be based on other people's expectations. And I think clothes and your personal style live right at the intersection of those three selves. So, what did I actually learn? First, I'm more repetitive than I thought, and that's okay. In fact, it made me realize I like familiarity. I'll carry the same bag for days, I'll repeat a formula until I get tired of it. I like variety when I'm bored, but I like repetition when I want to feel comfortable and grounded. And second, details matter. I always thought I didn't care about wrinkled shirts, slightly long pants, or tops that fit a little off. But seeing all my outfits lined up, I realized those little details did bother me. And I am aware that I mostly want to fix those things when other people see my outfits. But I also think there is nothing wrong with that, since I do think clothes are a way of communicating. And third, I need to rethink statement pieces. I've been treating basics as things I can wear endlessly and statements as things I should only wear once a month. The idea that the same person would see me with the same statement piece felt weird to me, but the outfits I loved most this month included statement items. So why was I saving them? Somewhere I had internalized the idea that repeating statement pieces was wrong, that people would notice and it would be weird. But that does sound pretty silly when I say it. No one cares if I wear the same white t shirt every other day, yet I convinced myself it was weird to wear the same statement scarf twice a week. When in reality, statement pieces are often what people remember. They're what make your style memorable, and personally, I'd rather be known for a specific bold item than as someone who only wears their bolder statements once a month. So at first, I thought this experiment would give me clear answers about what to buy and what to stop buying, but instead, it gave me perspective. It showed me that my style isn't fixed, it evolves as I evolve, and I shouldn't be fixed on a certain idea. It also reminded me that variety is nice, but repetition can be comforting, and that consistency in my style is something I shouldn't be afraid of. Also, that details matter more to me than I thought, and that statement pieces deserve more love and repetition. And most of all, it reminded me that clothes aren't always superficial. They're storytelling devices, and if we pay attention to what we wear, what we avoid, and what we hold on to, they can tell us a lot about who we are and who we are becoming. So, maybe the most practical advice is this: don't just ask yourself if you like a piece of clothing. Ask yourself, do I like repeating it? Do I want to be remembered for it? Or how do I want to be perceived? And does that align with who I am right now at this moment? Because in the long run, style isn't built on what we wear once, it's built on what we wear again and again. Aside from that, I also really liked a lot of my outfits. My absolute favorite was the one with the scarf over pants. I think because it's a combination of an outfit that I would call my uniform and a statement piece. And then my second favorite, surprisingly, was a look with the capri pants and a vintage jacket. Except for the heels, that outfit was entirely secondhand, and it reminded me that I need to give more love to my secondhand pieces. Because looking back, I noticed I wear my newer items much more often, almost out of a sense of obligation, like I have to wear them more because they cost more. And my least favorite was the outfit that I wore on the fort. Something just fell off. Probably the linen pants with the heels. They didn't really work together. But also, I was just having a bad day, and I think that energy carried into how I felt about the outfits. So that's what I've learned so far from filming my outfits for a month. I'll be posting a part 2 with the rest of my outfits because I wanted to give myself a little more time to see if new takeaways come up for this experiment, but also because I'm not used to making such a long video. And I might even make a summary of everything I wore in that video, so let me know if that's something you'd be interested in. And I hope this gave you a bit of inspiration or at least something to reflect on. Maybe it'll make you notice what pieces you repeat, what you tend to avoid, or what little details bother you more than you realized. And thank you so much for being here, for listening, and for reflecting along with me. And I'll see you in the next one.